Welcome to the Scariest Things podcast, your gateway to the tropes and trends of the horror genre. Tonight is the most special night of the entire year because this is the best of the year. This is Mike Campbell in Portland, Oregon, and I am joined with
Eric Lee
in Portland, Oregon, and we are joined by Liz Williams in
New Orleans.
And across the pond, as it were. All right, Robert, are you with us?
Robert Dildauer. I'm here.
Wait. All right, hold on.
It's still early.
Yes. What time is it in Japan right now?
Almost 8 o'clock on Monday morning.
All right. There you go. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Robert, and thanks for getting up so extra darn early to join us for our top movies of 2019.
And
thanks for having me.
I think we can say that this was a very interesting year. I don't think there's no clear front runner this year. There's no dominant movie, but a lot of good movies.
There may be a universal. We may be in universal agreement about one, but yes I think you're right.
Yes.
I think you're right.
Because we don't this year we didn't have. Well, we had one big movie that came out that was a blockbuster.
Oh yeah.
But we didn't have. I think that I don't know. I guess that would be it. I think there's quite literally it. As far as the big studio movie, there were a number of studio movies, but that one was the one that got the huge push.
Yep.
And
the biggest of the big.
So I saw this year, I think 43 2019 horror movies.
That's pretty tight.
That's
pretty tight.
And so, trying to sort through.
How many did we see at Overlook alone? Was it like 12?
Yeah, 12. I think 12
over the course of the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, or it was a 3-day presentation. So we saw a lot there, and
then at Portland Horror was another 5.
Yeah, Portland Horror Film Festival had a lot of short films.
Yeah.
But we got screeners for Fantasia, and I know that Robert got a chance to do some for that, and Film Quest, which has been very good for us this year.
The Brooklyn Horror Film Festival.
Yep. Popcorn Frights again.
In
Fort Lauderdale. This year, Buried Alive didn't give us a whole lot to work with, although we still support their.
Thanks, Buried Alive.
Yeah. next time, get us some screeners. All right, it'd be fantastic. We still support the notion of the little film festivals, but we'd love to help you out. But that's, I think, a lot of the kinds of movies we're doing reviews for are thanks to the festivals. Because if you're just going about theatrical releases, it's so hard to get in edgewise against the superhero movies nowadays.
Yeah.
They're still, some of them are pretty profitable. I've got a few of them on my list, but it's the indies that really show up, and it'll be interesting to see what the makeup is as we go forward. Like Liz, what was your thoughts on sort of generally on the 2019 movie scene?
Movie-wise, I have so many to choose from. It was a really good year. Thanks to the festivals, being able to catch some stuff that unfortunately listeners won't be able to see until early next year. That's always, one issue with that. But I also, on my list, have thrown in some TV because I am a couch potato and I like to stream shows and binge. So I got to put some TV in because a lot of the favorites of the year we've talked about because they're like universal favorites now. Everybody's agreeing on them. So got to mix it up a little bit.
Classic Liz.
Yep, got to mix it up.
And Robert, being in Tokyo, do they get theatrical releases for you to go out and see very often, or are you doing almost everything straight from streaming?
They do. I do most of my stuff through screaming.
It is a horror podcast, so that's fair. Your local screaming service.
So I suffer from the that whole thing where the Lodge hasn't come out yet, so I haven't been able to catch that yet.
Right,
it's kind of a bummer. So, which is always nice when we get the festival support, because then we get the streamers and the screener links and stuff.
Streamers, screeners, steamer,
and screamers.
All right, so we are going to, like the last time we did our best of the decade, we're going to go around the circle and we're going to name our top 5. And in the end, we're going to try and consolidate this into a top 10 list.
Right.
And we will also be, if you wanted to check out our extended lists, we will be doing write-ups of these on the Scariest Things website, Scariest Things 1T.
Yes. And many of these likely we have already reviewed.
Yes.
On the scariestthings.com website.
So check out our links for all of those reviews. We try and keep you up to date with all the latest happenings, and including movies that may not be out just yet, but keep them in mind for when they do arrive, because I think we've had some fantastic things like Robert's review of Selfie from Hell, which is this is mine in a little film, or my review of The Farm, which are the gifts that keep on giving, because they're these small films that when you guys come and visit us on our site, it gets more attention. So please like us on whatever streaming services that you use to listen to podcasts, and like our website, because the more that you actually do that, the more people will come to us, and we like that. We're after this, since it's the end of the year,
yes,
we can say we are now at 350,000 hits on our website. We are, I think, around 22,000 followers. So, hey, y'all, thanks for in 2 years.
Yes.
Come on, man. That's awesome.
That's tight.
So, let's get rolling. 2019 best of. We start with Liz.
All right. And I am going to start number 5 with a TV series. And this is a super gateway. This is even for, you could probably have Hank watching this one, Mike. And it is a Hindi language series from India called Typewriter.
Oh.
And it is directed by Sujoy Ghosh. And it is about a group of school children who are the cutest little things you've ever seen. They're like second graders who form a ghost club because they're obsessed with this book called The Ghost of Sultanpur. And there's an old villa in their neighborhood. Villa there just means big old house that was haunted. And so they're going to check it out, and they have a ghost hunting group. But before they're able to get in there, a new family moves in, and the legend of the villa resurfaces. And it's got some good scares, but it's also incredibly charming, funny. And Eric, like you mentioned on our previous episode, Tumba, the Indian horror movie, this is a horror series from India, and it's available to stream on Netflix.
Okay.
So check it out. It's only 6 episodes, and
is it
good for the whole family.
Is it subtitled, Liz?
Yes, but they do switch into English a lot.
Interesting.
Since they're on the island of Goa off the coast of India, and I guess since they always have been, British.
Yep.
Yeah. So they'll switch back and forth between speaking Hindi and speaking English, but it is subtitled.
Huh.
Robert,
you don't need to know Hindi.
There was another horror streaming thing on Netflix, wasn't there? That didn't you, Robert? Didn't you catch something on there?
There was.
Oh, I have some more.
There was.
an Indian
I can't remember the name of it.
All right, mull on that.
An Indian. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm passing it over to Robert.
So now that you're thinking about that, we jumbled your brain up.
Exactly.
Don't mull on that. Move on quickly.
I'm moving on quickly. For my number 5, I had to go back to my favorite Norwegian, André Øvredal, and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yes, good choice.
I thought that was kind of going along with Liz's kid theme. I thought it was a good a gateway horror film.
What was your favorite image from the movie? Because so many of those images seem to be cut straight out of the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say the Spider Girl was pretty darn creepy.
I thought the Scarecrow dude was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all creepy.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing was very well done.
Yeah,
so.
This was Øvredal's first big all-English production, yeah? Because I think before it was Troll Hunter and Rare. Did he do Rare X? No, he did Autopsy of Jane Doe. So I apologize.
Yeah. Autopsy of Jane Doe. Yeah.
And then we pass it off to Mike.
All
Your
right.
number 5.
My number 5 was the overall winner at the Overlook Film Festival. This was 2019's Vast of the Night. This is a UFO film set in the twilight of the 1950s, and it follows Everett, a DJ, and Faye, a switchboard operator, who start to hear very strange things coming across both their various consoles that they man
In the 1950s.
1950s New Mexico. So it's sort of a kind of a Roswell-esque type story, but it tracks in the most unique way I've seen in a long, long time. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars was my review for the film. And it is a really gripping film. I will say it's a film that you have to stick with. It's not a film that you can just sort of like meander in and out of. You have to really pay attention. And the way it's constructed largely through a series of about 4 really long monologues. They're kind of monologues because it's basically Everett, the radio DJ, is trying to track down where these strange sounds are emanating from, and he eventually interviews a whole series of townsfolk in New Mexico, in this New Mexico town, and he starts to unearth the story, the real possibility that UFOs are indeed amongst us.
It's a complete story.
It is a very complete story. Yeah, it's shockingly complete. And the reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because it's a little too complete. And that's a hint. I'm not going to spoil it because I think the film does sort of fall off the rails at the end. But yeah, what an amazing film. Beautiful film. And I think it was the first, I can't remember, Andrew Patterson. I think he is a first-time director, if I recall correctly. He was there. He accepted the award at the Overlook Film Festival. But yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful film. So interesting, too. And the pacing on it is just incredible.
Some beautiful tracking shots, too.
Yeah.
There would be some long follows where it would take you through the complexity of the high school in one long take. I mean, speaking of, one cut, there were some fantastic one cuts in this movie and all done sumptuously. It was a beautiful movie.
Yep. All right, Eric, what do you got for your number 5?
Well, this one was one that I reviewed from Film Quest in Provo, Utah, that happened in September, late August, September. And caught me completely by surprise. I didn't have any great hopes for it. In fact, this was one that Joseph Perry, our colleague, coaxed me into doing a review for because we were jointly writing some reviews for one of his publications, and he said, "Hey, I need some help." And so he goes, "Pick from these films," and I selected a movie called Finale, which is it's actually a 2-parter, and it actually has these two, or rather, there's sort of like 2 parallel story threads. One, it's a almost not to put to find a point on it, but a torture porn kind of a thing where there's a young woman who's been captured, and then there's another one which is a gas. They're in. This is in Amsterdam, or no, not Amsterdam, Denmark.
Okay.
So it's a Danish movie, and they're in 2 young women in a gas station. And some weird things that start happening. They think they're being stalked. There's notifications of women being kidnapped in the area.
Oh, yeah. I watched the trailer for this. What? This looks bananas.
It is. It's explosive. And it has these kinds of things where there's you hop in and out of a time sequence. One of them's working backwards. One of them is working forwards.
Right.
Kind of like Memento in a certain way. Where and there's at a certain point about the 2/3 part of the film, the storylines hit a nexus. They combine, and then from there on, you get a complete understanding of what the story is.
Right.
But you can see the consequences of something that's going to happen in the gas station, and it's gonzo. It's a lot of fun. I'm normally not a fan of the torture movies. By and large, they repulse me, but this one was fascinating. It was kind of almost reminded me of the film Framed, which I saw last year. Where it talks about streaming as a way of trying to get hits and doing extreme things, because the captors are streaming their thing like a circus live. Right. And the finale thing is a guy who's dressed up like a harlequin doing horrible things to people. But you wonder, how did this all happen? And that's what the parallel tracks are.
Right.
Really fascinating movie. It like a number of the other movies we're going to talk about, not available yet on streaming. Put this into your when it comes out on the list next year.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry guys. So that's why it didn't come up higher on my list. It's because can't get it yet. Roundabout. Robert, you're number 4. No, Liz, you're number 4.
Me. Yeah.
Sorry.
But this will take about 30 seconds because we've talked about this one. And my number 4 is Ari Aster's Midsummer. Rewatching it, I liked it better than the first time I saw it. And I just find it to be an enjoyable film. It is long, and it is a lot of he tells and shows when you don't really need to do both of those things. But you know what? The acting and the performances are so good, and just like the set design and everything he's so meticulous about are so good that I'm going to overlook those things and put it as my number 4 for 2019.
I know the Academy will not give Florence Pugh a nod for.
Toni Collette didn't get one for Hereditary.
I know, but she totally deserves it. I mean, her performance is just like
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I just saw this recently. I'm so I'm a little bit late to the party on this one. One of our Mike and my good friends, Barry Crow, says this is his favorite movie of the year. We just saw him yesterday, and he was waxing poetically about how powerful the film was. And then there was a big debate with one of our other friends, who came over and was saying it's not a horror movie. It's a Scott Bolton.
And so it is.
And it became this thing where it was like horror movie or not, and I was like, all right, you guys are singing my song. So after I saw Midsummer, my take was, yes, it's long. It's probably, I think they could have edited out tightened up some of the sequences, but they were all essential, I think, to explaining.
So is it a horror movie or not?
I say it's a horror movie. It's a weird thriller. It's a cult movie.
Mm-hmm. So it's a cult. Cults are scary. That means horror.
Yeah, okay. and there's plenty of blood. There's some just absolutely just gut wrenching moments in there.
All right. Second question.
Yeah.
Do you think this is part of an overall triptych, an Ari Aster triptych, where he's going to pull all these three together? There's going to be a third one that pulls Hereditary and Midsummer and another one together.
I would not be surprised. This one was about the dissolution of a relationship.
Right.
With the douchebag boyfriend.
No, I know. I know what it was about, but I'm saying.
You mean with the cults? All the pages, like the cults.
Yeah.
Oh, stringing the threads together.
Yeah.
So there's symbolisms.
I'm hoping there will be.
Yeah.
I know, me too.
There's some theories kicking around out on the internet that they maybe that's maybe what he's angling for. It's some sort of overarching Super Satan film.
Aster's such a super thinky guy. Sometimes he gets in front of himself. But I wouldn't be surprised. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
I like it. Ari, if you're listening, we'll take another one, please.
Yes. We'll take another one. And if you want to be on the podcast, just give us a holler.
We were there at the beginning, Ari. We were there at the Overlook Film Festival.
We'd love to pick your brain.
All right.
So with that, Robert, what's your number 4?
Number 4. For this one, I'm going to break the ice on the Irish film Extraordinary.
Yay!
Yay.
Because that was just a wonderful film. It's got a lot of heart. It's hilarious. It's pretty much a perfect film. So,
Yep.
Robert, how did you get a hold of Extraordinary in Japan? Just out of curiosity.
that was.
Did you see it through one of the festivals?
I think it was a screener. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because that
It
one
hasn't come out yet.
No, they don't even have a trailer, or they
No,
barely have a trailer.
But I did look. They whatever the film's Twitter is said it's coming in March.
March
Finally.
March of 2020. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. IMDb says March 6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those of you who thought that a rom-com and a horror movie couldn't mix, you're wrong. This thing
Perfect.
hits it out of the park, and I think one of the best things about this, the rom-com part of it, is that they are two unlikely people who are just sweet people.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and relative to the do you care about the protagonists, these are some of the most endearing people that you'll ever run into.
You even care about Will Forte.
Yeah.
Yeah. The villain, Christian Winter, the one-hit wonder.
Christian Winter, yeah.
And his mustache.
Yes.
It doesn't spare on the gore either. There's an exploding something or other that happens, which is like, whoa,
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
a holy shit moment, and at the same time, it's like you laugh at it. It's almost Evil Dead kind of splattery in that way.
This is a little provocative, but I think it's the best horror comedy film of all time.
Oh, I think I would agree with you.
It is a top shelf. It is in contention for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We were laughing the whole time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
You
the
do
whole
not-
audience was
yeah.
laughing every second.
The phallic
do not
divining
stop.
rod. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Was that great or what?
Good choice.
All right.
All right. On to Mike.
Yes, I'm going to go with the American disaster horror film directed by Alexandre Aja.
Uh-huh.
This is Crawl.
Okay.
Which I thought was just going to be big, dumb fun. It was just fun.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
actually kind of smart, and it's not dumb at all. It's deceiving because, all of the pre-press on it, all the, the trailer, the poster, everything, creates. I mean, you may as well be watching, Volcano or something like that. But this is super smart, super fast, really well put together. They spend a good 5 minutes at the beginning of the film, perseverating over the main character, Haley, and her penchant for swimming at the University of Florida.
The Gators.
And you're thinking, why are they spending all this time focusing on this woman's penchant for swimming? And that pays off like
Multiple ways.
in multiple ways. Yeah. So they set it up, they deliver. The alligators are believable. The story is mostly believable. The scares are real, and interestingly, it really plays out almost like sort of a, it plays out like a play almost.
Yeah.
Because it's all in a very tight, confined space.
Largely two characters too. Barry Pepper and Kate
it's
Scalario.
and the
right.
Gators, yeah, and it's really just it's the house and the convenience store across from the house, and that's it, or the convenience store gas station, and that's the whole thing.
It's a roller coaster. I love this movie.
Yep.
I'm a creature feature guy, right?
Yeah.
So it's also with Sam Raimi producing it.
Yep.
Alexandre Aja.
Yep.
Two guys who really know how to deliver on the scares, and it's the you're in the basement flooded with alligators in it. You don't need to explain too much more than that, but it's the father-daughter linkage that really holds this film together, and legitimately, I think the only thing is the father-daughter combo can take a lot of damage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You do have to suspend a little bit of disbelief, but there's the thing that's great about the other thing I really liked about it is that, like, even though, like you mentioned with the basement, you know, at some point the basement seems like really large and sometimes it seems really small, but then you know they get upstairs eventually, and there's the great scene in the bathroom, and he shows you how tight it is, but he shows you the entire thing.
Yeah.
From like an aerial perspective,
alligator and all,
and you go, oh Jesus, this is really tight, and this is really scary. Yes, go see Crawl if you haven't already.
All right, and so my number 4, to use a Robertism, Breaking the Ice. This is Jordan Peele's sophomore effort, Us. With a superstar actress, Lupita Nyong'o, doing double duty. Everybody in this movie is doing double duty. Everybody plays their own version and then the tethered version. Winston Duke is hysterically funny. He's the thing is, you know, for those of you who didn't recognize him, he's also plays in Black Panther.
Yes.
He's got a real wit about him. Both Lupita and Winston went to, I think, Yale acting school together. I think it's some Ivy League.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And so that their chemistry is fantastic. The kids are great. It gets real weird. I'll give you that. Some people go, I don't get the ending of this thing and the whole Hands Across America and all that kind of stuff. But it is
Hands Across America, and you're forgetting one important ingredient.
What, the Funhouse?
Chud.
Oh yeah, Chud. Right. And all the
cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers. Come on, Eric.
But this is reinforcing that Jordan Peele, if he stays in the horror genre, is a gold mine. The highly original ideas. I think that it might have overstretched itself on a few occasions, but some of the wild antics that happen when it's the people staring at their reflections and that kind of stuff, the individual showdowns.
Yep.
So much fun, and so original. I was thoroughly impressed with this one.
You know what I like about Us, and you know, obviously with Ari Aster too. It's like it's so polemic, you know, and it's so divisive. You know, there's a lot of people who are like, I hate this film. I don't get it.
I hate this film.
I don't understand it. Exactly. And then you talk to hardened horror fans who've seen, you know, Hereditary or Midsummer, and they're like, that's garbage. I don't even understand it. Right. Yeah. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's like they're both putting things out there that are so, but at the end of the day, like it or not, they're so inventive.
Yeah, it's have an idea.
Yeah, they have an idea and they have a vision, and they're going for it.
Yep. All right, so rounding back to the top, Liz, it's not going to be Us.
Right. Okay, it is not going to be. I'm going back to TV, and this one is a horror comedy show on HBO. It is created by Fred Armisen, Ana Fabrega, and Julio Torres, and it is called Los Spookies. And I'm just going to read you like the little plot synopsis because it's just the best way to describe it. And it's so funny. Everybody's going to want to get HBO right away. Okay. This series follows the adventures of Ronaldo, a horror and gore enthusiast who forms a unique business that conjures thrills and chills for a variety of clients. Joining Ronaldo in his eerie enterprise are friends Ursula, who handles logistics and execution of Los Spookies projects, Ursula's sister Tati, who juggles odd jobs while acting as the group's test dummy, and Andres, the brooding heir to a chocolate empire who longs to unlock the secrets of his past. Reoccurring guest star Fred Armisen portrays Tico, Ronaldo's benign and beloved uncle who happily lives his own career dream as a parking valet legend in Los Angeles. So this show is hilarious, and the people who start this company to like provide horror related experiences for people are like they're showing you behind the smoke and mirrors of, almost like haunted house creation and stuff like that. And it is hilarious. You've got to watch it. Each of the episodes is only 30 minutes long. I saw it on the plane flying over to Europe, so I got to binge watch the entire series, and I absolutely loved it. And it's coming out. Season 2 is going to be coming next year, and I am there for that. So Los Espooky
sold
on HBO.
You know what, Liz? I'm pissed that we didn't take that name for this podcast.
Yeah.
And sue them for everything they have.
Yeah, that would have been a great name for this podcast.
All right, over to Robert.
Okay, number 3. Eric's going to like this one, I think.
All right.
Number 3, directed by 2 of the guys who directed segments of VHS, and also has the producer came from VHS. Eric's crush, starring in the main role. Ready or Not.
Yeah. Samara Weaving.
This is also Samara Weaving. This is the one of the first ones I've seen in what seems to be a theme for 2019, the We Hate Rich People theme.
Right.
Yeah.
Robert, there was that film that got a trailer early this summer that basically involved wealthy people hunting poor people.
Yeah.
That hasn't arrived because there was a shooting,
they
and
took that one I think
it was after the Texas.
It
was after the Texas shooting. They pushed it. I think they pushed it well back into 2020, 2021. But yeah, you're right.
It's a most dangerous game kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's definitely the 2019 theme is We Hate Rich People.
Yeah, I think Us had a bit of the We Hate Rich People thing going on.
For sure.
It is. Certainly thematic. This is cat and mouse. This is, I think I described this on our the best of the decade. So no surprise on this one for me. The other part that I really liked about this was that the antagonists were as much fun as the protagonists. I mean,
absolutely.
You fall in love with Grace, who is Samara's character, as the bride who has to survive her own wedding night because the family that she married into, apparently there's a curse. But each of the characters, I particularly like Henry Czerny, who's the dad. There's the Nikki Guadagni, who's the weird Aunt Helene. Who she's the silver-haired, bore a hole through your skull stare. But for those of you who haven't seen it, the end of the movie is so completely wild and crazy. I loved every bit of it, but the ending is a riot. It is so bloody and so much fun.
It was very funny.
Yes.
All right, ready or not?
Ready or not? Here we come.
On to you, Mike.
All right. I was smitten by and absolutely emotionally crushed by the 2019 American-British horror film directed by Veronica France and Severin Fiala, The Lodge. This is a film
crossover.
Yes, this is a film that stars Riley Keough, Jaden Martell, Leah McHugh, Elisa Silverstone, and Richard Armitage. It is the slowest of the slow burn, but essentially is a young woman who is with a couple of soon to be stepchildren, and she finds herself in an isolated, remote winter cabin, and having to deal with the children, and also at the same time, slowly but surely, her deep, dark psychological ills that have been brought to her by a cult that she used to be a part of are starting to manifest themselves, and they manifest themselves in the darkest way. And this film it never lets up.
I think one of the things that impressed me most about this is that your allegiances
switch
Yep. frequently. Yeah. You root for the kids, and then you root for Riley.
Yep.
And because there's a lot of gray area, and so
it is
because the kids can be little assholes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
they're just but at a certain point, it's like, oh no, maybe they had a point. No, they. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What's going on? And
it really throws you, but it doesn't like whipsaw you between those things. It slowly allows you to kind of like come to those conclusions yourself. It doesn't like force them on you, and you go, oh my.
Right.
Yeah. It hits you over the head though.
It's completely earned.
Yep.
I have this as my number one.
All right. There you go.
Oh.
Well, I have a feeling we may have a lot of crossovers
coming up.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why we could spend a lot of our exposition early on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because my number 3, we've already talked about.
Yes.
Is Extraordinary.
There you go.
We don't need to talk much more about it. It is fabulously funny. As soon as it comes out, please watch it. Support little Irish horror rom-coms, please.
Heck
yes.
Yeah.
So,
heck yeah.
With that, I'm going to pitch it back to Liz. For Liz, your number 2.
All right. My number 2 is I'm staying with TV, and I'm staying on Netflix, and I'm staying foreign language.
Liz, you do know this is a horror movie podcast.
I know. But all the movies we have crossover. I gotta mix it up a little bit because I didn't put Extraordinary on because I'm placing that at the top.
All right.
It's called Marianne. It's a French television series, and it's created and directed by Samuel Bowden, and I would describe it as if Amelie was a horror movie. It's got that French quirkiness, and it's about a writer who has to return to her hometown that she's been gone from for about 15 years when an evil spirit who's plagued her dreams is wreaking havoc in the real world. So it kind of has almost a little bit of a taste of Misery, because the reason the spirit's coming out is because she's decided she's not going to write her books anymore. So that kind of made me think of, Kathy Bates's character wanting the story of Misery to continue and, taking it out on the writer when he said he killed her off, I think, in his book. So it's creepy. It is very weird, and also just a little trigger. It has like children get killed in this one. So if anybody like that kind of stuff, stay away from it.
So how many episodes is this, or is this a one shot, or is it a series?
It's 8 episodes, but I don't know if there's going to be a series 2 or anything. It wraps up where they don't need one, but
everybody dies. Oh no! Wait.
No.
just
so they don't need
it's just
another
children.
one. You're satisfied with your ending, but I'm sure certainly could have one. And it's available to stream on Netflix, and it is Marianne, and it's creepy, creepy, creepy.
And if you like to watch children die.
Yeah. Well,
who doesn't?
not a lot of them, but it does happen. So, and some people probably don't want to watch a movie with that. Yeah. But with that, over to Robert.
Well, speaking of children dying, 2019 was also the year of Lupita.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I went with Little Monsters.
Okay.
I just love everything about this movie. I love how she's positive the whole time through, singing songs, and there's this horrible outbreak of zombies going on. It's just, it's a great movie. She does. I hope she sticks with the horror genre for a while longer, because wow.
Yeah. Now, did you pick up Hulu in order to see this?
It's streaming on a bunch of things right now, I think.
Really? I was trying my hardest to find it, and apparently it's on in the States. It's a Hulu exclusive, so I couldn't even get it at Movie Madness. So,
really?
Oh, yeah.
What?
You know what it says? So I just Googled. It says you can rent it on Prime.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Okay.
And YouTube and iTunes. So forth.
Oh.
And Liz Williams gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
I quite enjoyed this, and I really liked the leading man. I had not recognized him before, but he was hilarious. So,
Yeah, the year of Lupita.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Oh, and I looked up that other the Indian. It was the first Indian show that Netflix did, and it was called Ghoul.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
a, it's a
three episodes.
kind
Really
of
good too.
police procedural horror movie kind of a thing, or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, on to Mike.
All right. My number 2 film. This is an Irish horror comedy film written and directed by Mike Ahern and Edna Loffman. This is extraordinary. I would be okay calling this my number 1. Frankly, it's we have talked at length about this. The one thing I will say, that we haven't really touched on that I really, really enjoyed about it, having been a child of the 70s and having been so smitten with Leonard Nimoy and In Search Of, is that there are so many great reachbacks to In Search Of and an In Search Of style series of VHS cassettes that is it's so well done. And so carefully, I mean, it's such a thoughtful and kind of precise look at that kind of paranormal research from the 70s and 80s that it absolutely floored me. I mean, because that kind of stuff you can't just kind of fake your way through. I mean, you really have to be very thoughtful and very precise about that kind of stuff in order to make it work.
And even the whole notion of the accident that forces her out of the In Search Of kind of stuff.
Right.
And then you kind of wonder, is it all hoaxy? And like, no, she's legit.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. Yes, go see Extraordinary as soon as it comes out. And the last thing I will note is that Will Forte deserves an Academy Award for this performance.
Yeah, as does his mustache.
As does his mustache.
For his
Yeah.
mustache.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would be okay if he got Best Supporting Actor, but that's a whole different story. Come on, Academy. We know you can do better.
Yep.
At first it's got to get a release. And
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, what do you got?
Well, my number 2 is there's an alligator in my basement. I have,
And that's the tagline.
that's right. We're going to come up with some fancy taglines for this. Crawl is what I want to see more of out of studio productions. I think this is a Universal film, and it got it's sort of a little bit larger than micro budget kind of a thing. They're not trying to they're trying to find a sweet spot, but they're taking it seriously. This is no Sharknado. This is
oh hell no!
It reminds me more of something like Open Water, maybe not quite as not quite as grim in that way, but as far as a fun roller coaster. Night of the Movies, you cannot ask for having more fun at a horror movie than that. I think Mike at one point said that there was like shouting at the theater relative to get out of the basement and then cheering for the dog and then and it's fun. I always appreciate proper use of red shirts in a horror movie. And you kind of know that these guys are going to get it when the rescue team comes out for them. But seeing the alligators actually go full alligator is wondrous special effects. I mean, it looks just so convincing. The kind of stuff that they pulled off, all the water and the monsters, loved it.
The budget on it was $13 million, and I think we talked about this before that it was all filmed in Serbia.
Yeah. So
What?
not Gainesville,
not Gainesville, Florida.
So
all shot in Serbia. So I guess that's the ticket for big budget horror films is go to Serbia.
Or and I think Liz was talking about this a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the holiday horror, but that Midsummer wasn't actually filmed in Sweden.
No,
Right. It wasn't filmed in Hungary.
Hungary, yeah,
So
close enough.
yeah, Central Europe's so
Central
cheap.
Florida, Serbia,
It's all the same thing.
Get it.
All those mountains in Florida. I wonder what's going on there. So that's my
That's
number 2 going back to the top. Liz already committed to the Lodge, I think.
We did. I'm going to give it a tie, though, now, because we've
Yep.
talked about all of them.
Yep.
I'm tying it between Extraordinary and The Lodge.
Okay.
Because
Are you
you got to double feature them because The Lodge is so bleak that you have to be able to have a good time and laugh after it.
Do you have?
And I love them both, but you can't like compare them. I mean, they're completely polar opposites.
Yeah.
But
Now,
they were both 5 stars for me this year.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, one film that I know that you really liked that didn't show up on your list, It Chapter 2.
Well, I mentioned it in our last one of the best of the decade,
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to bring in some other stuff. Also, it's not a standalone film.
Right.
If you haven't, it has to go with Chapter 1.
Right.
And it was just a good time, like Crawl was. It's a good time at the movies. It's not going to win any Academy Awards or anything like that.
Nope.
But I loved it anyway.
So we're
all right. Robert, number 1.
Number 1 for 2019. Sticking with the We Hate Rich People theme, I'm going with Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
The Chelsea Stardust debut feature. All kinds of, with Rebecca Romijn in it. Romaine. Yeah, that was a good film.
Yeah, and we actually, I think, when we went down to Overlook, we got a chance to have a nice long discussion with Amanda Presmick.
Yep.
On
a street corner.
Yeah, in New Orleans in 95-degree heat.
Yeah, outside in the heat.
100% humidity.
In the middle of a police car chase.
Yeah, and she was so lovely and gracious to talk with us about Fangoria and the production of Satanic Panic. So go back 6 months or so in our podcast, and you'll find our interview with her.
Mm-hmm. And you can find Eric's review of Satanic Panic.
Yeah, Satanic Panic. I gave Satanic Panic a 4-star review. I thought it was tonally so good. And I think, Mike, you just recently saw Satanic Panic.
I recently saw it. I thought it was hysterical. Hysterical. It didn't quite make my top 5, but it did make my top 10. Which we'll be getting to at some point on the scariestthings.com website.
One of the best sort of fun culty movies, the cult that can't shoot straight kind of a thing. Haley Griffith, speaking of, sort of some of these young stars like Riley Keough, like Samara Weaving.
Yep.
If Haley Griffith decides to stay within horror, she's got a great career in front of her.
Absolutely.
She's
wonderful.
Another crush.
Yeah,
I thought that was one of those things
great.
where, she's the plucky and tough pizza delivery girl.
My only complaint was that they set up at the very beginning of the film. They set up the sort of the 3, I guess 4 characters at the pizza delivery place, but they don't really follow up with many of them. Right, they only follow up with the guy who wants to be her boyfriend.
Right.
They don't really follow up with the other 2 characters, and they were all so funny. I could have easily seen trying to weave them into the film as well.
Keep sending more pizzas.
Yeah. More pizzas.
No, I fully approve. I thought Satanic Panic is definitely in my top 10 from this year. So
for sure,
a bit of a surprise. I because I was like, it looked kind of light, but it is light and it's fantastic.
Yep.
It's a screenplay by Grady Hendrix, so the dialogue and everything is
friend of the
gonna be super
podcast.
fun.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. All right, my number 1 film.
All right, Mike.
Yes, this is an American horror film written and directed by Jordan Peele, starring Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke. This is Us. Yeah, I've talked extensively about this. The only thing I haven't mentioned, which I will mention at this point, which I think is fair to mention, is the soundtrack is very thoughtful, very original, very inventive. A soundtrack like you don't really get. It's the most fascinating juxtaposition of NWA and the Beach Boys that you will ever see in a film. And the way they move in and out of songs and the way they carry some of the songs through into soundtrack pieces is really fascinating. Yeah, I know several people anecdotally who went out and purchased the soundtrack almost immediately after seeing the film, and I know that the song "I Got Five on It" by the Loonies is like it had a complete resurgence as a result of Winston Duke singing it to his children in the car.
But the best part of that was that the kids didn't give a shit.
Right.
It was like, come on, Dad. It's like, and that was some of the best sort of family dynamics.
Probably, yeah, some of the best. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think I don't remember what you said in the course of your review, but it is Spielbergian. Mm-hmm. The family dynamic, and that really it pulls you hook, line, and sinker into the film.
Now I know Jordan Peele's got a lot of production stuff coming up,
right?
Like Antebellum, I think is a big one for next year.
Antebellum is one, and then he's also
Lovecraft Country.
Yeah,
Lovecraft Country. He's also doing a film with Al Pacino, or no, it's a series or a film with Al Pacino.
Yeah, I think it's a series
as a Nazi hunter in the 1970s.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, that looks really interesting. Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see what his take on Candyman's going to be like.
Yeah.
But I don't think he hasn't picked a director yet, I don't think.
Correct, yeah.
But I really want him to take the reins.
Yeah, I know.
Because it would be, and somehow bring Tony Todd back in.
Yep.
But those are all wish fulfillment things. I'm so happy that he's staying within horror.
Yep.
So
all right, Eric, what do you have for the best film of 2019?
Ready or not? Because
Eric's lady crush.
Yeah.
Enough said.
And to be honest, I think there's also a bit of an art director crush. I loved the way that they set, they presented the mansion, all the have any of you guys seen Knives Out yet?
No,
no.
That is a great Agatha Christie kind of a movie, but it has the same kind of feel. Like it's not a haunted house, but it's a big creepy mansion, and a bunch of people who are just sort of the mad antics, almost kind of Wile E. Coyote going about.
Right.
In the mansion, and the gags hit. And there's I think even the butler gets some standout moments. Right. And then there's that she's a smart heroine, but not too smart. And I thought, tough call. And there's a lot of these movies that I could have put up there. I think it's not head and shoulders above the other ones that I picked, and I could have picked actually a lot of the stuff that you guys picked.
Right.
But that one for just sheer fun for me, Ready or Not, it stays with me. So that's it. So we've got.
Right. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say our universal number one.
Extraordinary.
Is Extraordinary.
Okay.
Robert, are you in concurrence?
Yeah, I can go with that.
All right. I think that's fair.
I think
that's fair.
I think the number two. I'd be willing to put The Lodge at number 2.
All right.
Because I think it was number 6 on my list, and I know Robert hasn't seen it yet.
Yep.
But I think that I think we get pretty decent consensus on that.
We'll vote for you, Robert.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so then we got some other. So then things get. This is one of the, Robert, have you seen Us yet?
Yes, I have.
Did you like it?
I did. Yeah. So I didn't put it in my. It's not in my top 5, but it is in my top 10.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So this is one where we got 2 of us loved it, 1 like, and 1 hate it. So does that move? So that might move us. So some of the other ones that might, because that was on the top line. Liz, have you seen Ready or Not?
I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't either.
Okay, so based on my review and Robert's review, that would put it fairly high up.
Sure.
Crawl will be up there. We all.
Yeah. It
would be my top 10, not my top 5.
Robert, have you seen Crawl?
I did, yes.
Okay. I think Crawl probably... No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it didn't make my top 10, but I did love the movie.
Okay. Liz, you saw Little Monsters.
I did.
Would you put Little Monsters one of the ones you think it's a top 10 kind of a movie?
It'll be in my top 10 for sure.
So Mike and I haven't seen it because I tried to, but I couldn't catch it. It looks like my kind of a thing.
Yeah.
What do you, Mike and Liz? What do you think about Satanic Panic?
I could put Satanic Panic in the top 5.
I'm okay with putting Satanic Panic at 3. If it's Robert's number 1, it's in my top 10. What else would you put in your number? What's the next one you would think? What we've talked about? Us.
I would think Crawl or Us.
I will not put Us in.
Okay, so I'm gonna put Crawl at 3.
Higher than Satanic Panic.
Okay,
myself.
so
but I could swap them.
I'm gonna go Crawl, Satanic Panic. I'm gonna put Us at 5.
All right. I think that's
with an asterisk next to it.
Yes.
with the
asterisk
with the dispute.
Liz hates it.
So then we've got some other ones. We've got I can't say. I think the trick is that with all of Liz's television shows, I think Liz, you're the only one who's watched them so far.
Yep.
You want to put Little Monsters at 6?
Put Little Monsters in there, sure. And I mean, so my top 10 list will be movies. So I would put It Chapter 2 probably at like number 10.
Yeah, I think I'd be willing to put It Chapter 2 at number 10 myself. I thought it was good. I like the first one better. I think I had It Chapter 2 as a 3.5, and I had the first one at 4 stars.
But I put Midsummer up there.
Yeah, I'd put Midsummer at number 7. Actually, I liked Midsummer, even though it didn't hit our top 5 list. Well, let's take a look at some of the other things that we had if we stick with what we list on top 5s.
Well, I had Midsummer on my top 5.
Oh, you do? Let's put Midsummer there. Yep. Robert, have you seen Midsummer?
I did, yeah.
Is that
not on my top 10? I was one of those that was on the fence about that one.
Okay.
I was too.
Well, maybe we'll drop. I think Midsummer. I really respected Midsummer, and maybe not 7.
I'm going to tell you, I preferred it the second time I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe it's because I had already known, we went in to see it expecting Hereditary, and then it was like, oh, that wasn't as good as his previous film. But when I watched it again, it's still, I preferred it more. So maybe because the expectation had been taken away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vast of Night. I really enjoyed that.
I did too.
I did too, but I would in no way call that a horror movie.
Okay. Fair enough.
None of you guys have seen Finale, right?
No.
No.
All right. So
maybe we stop at 5.
Well, can I do Ready or Not at 7?
Sure.
Yep.
Have you
Everybody I know who's seen it loves it, so we'll go with trusting you guys.
We'll trust Eric.
Okay.
Bad idea.
I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put It Chapter 2 at number 10. And so I've got the 8 spot. What is in contention?
Hole in the Ground.
No.
What? Hole in the Ground is solid. Are you kidding?
Did you see it? Yeah, I like that movie.
Okay.
I did.
Let me take a look.
It was good.
Let me go through.
What about Daniel is Real?
I love Daniel is Real.
I
Isn't
didn't
real.
see that one.
I did not either.
Let's see if I go back to the full list of things that I've seen this year.
Well, stay tuned, listeners. Get on the website where we give you the other ones that we're going to fill in.
Yeah. If I'm going through here, I go Daniel Isn't Real at Lodge is 6. Daniel Isn't Real. Satanic Panic. Depraved. Horror Noir.
I liked Depraved.
Yeah, Horror Noir was in my top 10.
Sweetheart. Sweetheart was fun. Pledge. Have you guys seen Pledge?
No.
Brightburn.
Brightburn's a little.
That was okay.
That's a little polemic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a DC Comics fan. I know that it's Vast of Night. It Chapter 2. Come to Daddy.
Yeah, Come to Daddy was on
I liked that
was
one.
on my top 10 as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Although it does vacillate into it sort of in the same way that Mandy does, kind of in the horror not category.
Third act is completely horror.
Yeah.
First act is family drama.
Definitely psychedelic in nature.
Yeah.
I have Itsy Bitsy. To Your Last Death, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Head Count.
Oh, yeah, I liked Head Count. I don't know if it would be in my top 10, but it was a good film.
So, I mean, if you're picking from some of these other ones, what anything jump out in any of the ones that I just listed?
Horror noir.
Horror noir.
Yep.
I thought horror noir was brilliant. Did you guys see horror noir?
I haven't seen that one.
That
Very-
documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put horror noir at 8.
There you go. There you go.
And then we can also put One Cut of the Dead with a little asterisk saying it
Oh.
came to America 2 years later.
Yeah, because I think
there you
I think
go.
we all agree that we all love
We didn't
One
get
Cut of
it
the
here
Dead.
until
Yeah.
2019, even though it was released in 2017.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with The Dead Don't Die.
So Liz,
Oh, no, that's not making anybody's top 10 list. I don't.
so your task for right now is to go into IMDb and find out what the tagline is for Extraordinary.
I
And-
have it right here.
All right. So with that,
man.
why don't you? So this is we're gonna wrap this up for our top films of 2019. Number 1, Extraordinary. Number 2, The Lodge. Number 3, Crawl. Number 4, Satanic Panic. Number 5, Us. Number 6, Little Monsters. Number 7, Ready or Not. Number 8, Horror Noir. Number 9, Midsummer. Number 10, It Chapter 2.
I can live with that list.
Is everybody
Solid
good with
list.
that?
I can live with
Good
it.
with
I'll
that.
stand by that.
All right, with an asterisk behind One Cut of the Dead, which would probably I would put it up to like number 2 or 3 if it was actually released this year, because that was so much fun. So, folks, please like us on whatever streaming service that you got, and if you're feeling end of the year bonus generous, we have a Patreon subscriber account, which we would love to have you join us. I've got some special things planned for next year for some of our Patreon contributors, and more on that later. But for now, we're going to close it out with the tagline from Extraordinary.
Extraordinary, putting the normal in paranormal.
Well said. Thanks, everybody, for a fabulous 2019 from the Scariest Things. We'll talk to you later.